Imagine an aircraft almost as long as 3 football fields. Inside, there are elegant restaurants, luxurious cabins, spacious lounges, a grand piano, and hundreds of passengers calmly enjoying a cup of coffee hundreds of meters above the ground. No turbulence, no cramped seats, no endless airport lines. It was a luxury cruise ship floating through the sky. At the beginning of the 20th century, many experts believed that airships, not airplanes, would become the future of global travel. But today, you almost never see them in the sky. Why? What happened to a technology that seemed decades ahead of its time? And is it really true that one catastrophic accident buried the entire industry forever? The truth is far more fascinating, and it begins long before the famous disaster. The first successful rigid airships appeared at the end of the 19th century. The man who revolutionized their development was German Count Ferdinand von Zeppelin. His name became synonymous with these enormous flying machines. Unlike ordinary hot air balloons, airships had a rigid metal framework, powerful engines, and steering systems that allowed them to travel thousands of kilometers without landing. For the world of that era, it was nothing short of a technological miracle. During the 1920s and 1930s, airships became the ultimate symbol of luxury. Wealthy travelers crossed the Atlantic Ocean not in a matter of hours, but over several relaxing days. Panoramic windows, fine dining, private cabins, attendants dressed in elegant white gloves. An airship felt more like a five-star hotel than a means of transportation. The most famous of them all was the Hindenburg. It stretched nearly 250 meters in length. For comparison, that's taller than many modern skyscrapers. Inside were luxurious lounges, dining rooms, and beautifully designed passenger spaces. It represented the absolute peak of engineering innovation. It seemed that the future had already arrived. But there was one problem. To stay in the air, these giant aircraft had to be filled with an extremely light gas. The safest option was helium. It is completely non-flammable and highly stable. However, almost all of the world's helium supply was controlled by the United States. Because of growing political tensions, America refused to export helium to Germany. As a result, engineers had no choice but to use another gas: hydrogen. It was cheaper, it was lighter, but it also had one terrifying characteristic: it was extremely flammable. Despite this risk, airships operated successfully for years without any major disasters. Many people even considered them safer than the airplanes of the time. Then came the day that changed history forever. May 6, 1937. The Hindenburg was completing its transatlantic journey and preparing to land at Lakehurst, New Jersey. There were 97 people on board. Thousands of spectators gathered to watch its arrival. Journalists were broadcasting the event live, and then the unimaginable happened. Within seconds, flames appeared near the tail of the massive airship. The fire spread with astonishing speed. In just over half a minute, one of the largest flying machines ever built collapsed into a burning wreck. The shocking images traveled around the world. They became one of the first major disaster videos witnessed by millions of people. The public was horrified. But there is one surprising detail. Out of the 97 people on board, 36 lost their lives. For a catastrophe of this magnitude, the survival rate was far higher than many would expect. Several passengers managed to jump to safety before the structure completely collapsed. Yet the reputation of airships was destroyed forever. For decades, people believed that exploding hydrogen was solely responsible for the tragedy. Modern investigations suggest a far more complicated story. Some researchers believe the outer skin of the airship ignited first before the hydrogen caught fire. Others point to static electricity, structural failure, or severe weather conditions. There are even theories suggesting sabotage, but regardless of the exact cause, the result was the same. Public confidence disappeared overnight, and at exactly the same time, another revolution was taking place. Airplanes were becoming faster, more reliable, more affordable. What an airship accomplished in 3 days, airplanes would soon achieve in less than 10 hours. Economics made the decision. The age of the airship slowly came to an end. But here's the surprising part. Airships were never actually banned. No worldwide law ever prohibited them. They simply became impractical. They were expensive to maintain, highly dependent on weather conditions, much slower than airplanes. And they required enormous infrastructure for takeoff, landing, and storage. Commercial aviation simply became the better solution. Yet the story doesn't end there. Today, airships are making an unexpected comeback. Modern designs use non-flammable helium, advanced composite materials, and even electric propulsion systems. Several companies are developing them for ecotourism, cargo transport to remote regions, scientific research, and luxury sightseeing experiences. Interestingly, modern aerospace engineers are once again revisiting lighter-than-air technology, not as a replacement for airplanes, but as a complementary solution. Hybrid airships could stay aloft for weeks with minimal fuel, transporting heavy cargo to remote areas without runways. With rising fuel costs and climate concerns, this forgotten idea may yet find a second life in the 21st century. Perhaps the future humanity, abandoned nearly a century ago, is quietly returning. And maybe one day we'll once again look up and see giant silver airships gracefully floating above our cities, just as they once did. Because sometimes history doesn't truly end, it simply waits for a second chance. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into the inventions, technologies, and historical events that change the world. And now, tell us in the comments. Would you take a trip on a modern airship, or would you still choose an airplane? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.